As Team Think Tank analyzed the handouts, several key concepts stood out. First, learning organizations not only plan for success, but also plan for failure. They define success and failure in the early planning stages. They consider worst-case scenarios and pinpoint biases. They develop their people to be problem solvers. They put surveillance and sanctioning systems into place so they can evaluate projects at every step. When failure occurs, intelligent organizations are prepared. Second, learning organizations learn from successes and failures. They admit mistakes, analyze them, and brainstorm solutions. They don't assume that failure and success are antonyms. Rather, they find success in intelligent failure. They embrace failure as a new opportunity to learn and grow, not as an end, but as an opportunity. Some organizations even find value in celebrating intelligent failure. They don't punish messengers or play blame games. Instead, they invite feedback and reward solutions. Third, learning organizations foster a culture of accountability, resilience, and high ethical standards. They avoid erroneous biases. They foster teamwork and avoid micromanagement. When failure seems inevitable, they fail quickly, admit mistakes, identify root causes, plan solutions, and move forward with a new vision of success. They make it easy to share learning by encouraging participation within boundaries. They focus on what happened, not who caused it. They foster innovation and learning by proactively searching for opportunities to experiment. To turn any failure into success, it is essential for an organization to encourage these three themes. Again, planning for failure, learning from failure, and fostering a safe culture where failure is avoided but embraced as opportunity. It's important for organizations to listen to feedback, nurture problem solvers, and avoid blame. Organizations who can effectively control, mitigate, accept, and learn from failure have an incredible competitive advantage because they will be able to take risks and see high dividends from the ensuing innovation. And this requires an outward mindset where problems are seen as opportunities and people are seen as people.
Risk-taking and successful failure. Team Think Tank has defined it as the controlled failure mitigated through preemptive planning and cultural acceptance of risk-taking from which intelligence is gained, valued, and applied toward improved decision-making and innovation. There is a definite process leading up to a successful failure. We know to achieve successful failure, some risk-taking is necessary. An organization's leaders and HR department need to invite and encourage managed risk-taking and plan for some failure. Failures need to be detoxified by term and redefined as an opportunity to learn. Success also needs to be defined so that you'll know when you have achieved it. Risks need to be bitten off in small chunks so that the learning can take place quickly and cost efficiency is achieved. Regular reviews of the failures as well as the successes needs to take place in order to acknowledge what is working, what needs to be revised, and what resources could be added to make the necessary improvements. This requires that the organization build and nurture a culture of outward-thinking leaders and employees that see every failure, large and small, as an opportunity to learn. It was Colin Powell who once said, "There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure."
As failure is a part of risk and risk is part of growth and potential improvement, companies must systematically make accommodations for failure, but also create opportunities for continued success. There are fundamental tasks that can be taken to limit the disaster of missing the intended mark of success. Overcoming failure requires collaboration on many levels. First of all, we want to adapt a learning mindset. We want to grow resiliency in our staff through training and expectations. We want to create an environment of teamwork, acceptance, and self-awareness. We want to be active in overcoming our failure and increased resiliency in our staff. We want to nurture problem solvers and ask for input across all levels of the business. Before we take the risk, we want to look at the big picture and define the goal. Are there any biases or conflicts of interest? What are the limits? What can our boundaries be? And how do we hold people accountable? We have to have a plan and share that vision. We have to be explicit about our assumptions and have a plan to test them. We want to create small steps to reach our goal. We're going to incorporate small testing procedures during the process. We're going to test predictable outcomes in case they have any glitches. We want to continually experiment, not only to replicate the best practice, but also to create opportunities for our staff to learn. During the whole process, we want to make sure that we have frequent check-ins. We want to be able to evaluate our progress, report, and hold people accountable. We want to reward solid decision-making, not just good outcomes. If we're going to try this, we're going to fail fast and fail quick. We want to plan small steps with limited resources to decrease that liability. We want everyone to share what they learn, and we want you to train your staff to self-analyze and be honest about their outcomes. Emotions are tied to failure. We want to move past the disappointment and blame and focus on the objective. We want to have a strong team that's empathetic, communicates well, and can make plans for the future. After this whole process is done, we're going to evaluate it and start again. There's no end to learning, success, or failure. We want to work to understand the processes, both successes and failures, and we'll use this feedback to guide our future actions.
Hi there, I'm here today to share with you Group Think Tank's shared definition of risk-taking and successful failure in HR development. We thought it could be defined as controlled failure mitigated through preemptive planning and cultural acceptance of risk-taking from which intelligence is gained, valued, and applied toward improved decision-making. I know this seems like a mouthful, but let's briefly talk about what it means. Controlled failure, mitigated through preemptive planning, is simply the idea that as we reach out for success, we also take steps to ensure that if failure does occur, that it is not catastrophic. We basically cushion the blow, so to speak. An example of this in my life would be the fact that I wear a motorcycle helmet when I ride. I am not expecting to crash, but by wearing it, I am mitigating the risk of a serious head injury. I'm literally cushioning the blow. The next idea is that we must foster a culture that accepts intelligent failure and even celebrates it at times. If people feel safe to stretch for success, knowing that failure is possible, they will be more willing to take calculated risks and not worry about a huge backlash if their plans don't work out perfectly. The last idea from our shared definition is that failure is an opportunity to learn, and that it is a valuable tool to find out where we went wrong and what can be done next time to be ultimately successful. An example of this idea is the U.S. Army's AAR, or After Action Report. This is basically a meeting after a combat operation. Those who participated sit down and talk about why they thought they succeeded or failed, and what could be learned to do better next time. And that is Team Think Tank's definition of risk-taking and successful failure in HR development.